Namaste and good evening. We'll start our class with the prayers. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now we'll chant Mahamrityunjaya mantra 3 times, particularly for those who are in suffering. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhana Mrityormukshya Mamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhana Mrityormukshya Mamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhana Mrityormukshya Mamrutat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome everyone. So today we'll start the class number 17. We have already completed 16 classes and there was a week's gap. Last week we did not have a class. So this is after 2 weeks. So just to give you a little bit overview of last class, we start the Aranya Kanda, that is the 3rd chapter. We finished the first 2, Balakanda and Ayodhya Kanda, in the previous class. And then Aranya Kanda. Aranya means forest. So this is journeying in the forest, the incidents which are happening. This particular chapter is small in size, but has some very significant events. And the story will take a sharp turn from this chapter onwards. So first we saw that there was Indra's son who wanted to test the strength of Lord Rama, and he learned his lesson. Then Lord Rama thought that Chitrakuta, the place he had been staying so far, lot of people started coming there, and it was causing the disturbance to the people nearby as well as to him. So he decided to move on from there. And then going to different saints, asking them where should he go, he finally goes and settles down in a place called Panchavati. In the process, while going in the forest, at one place he sees that there was a small mountain of white color, and he asks his fellow sages that what is it? And they said, it is the heap of all the bones of the sages whom demons have devoured. When Lord Rama heard that, he felt extremely sorrowful, and he made a resolve, made a promise that I will free the whole earth from demons. So he settles in Panchavati, and then there was an interesting episode where Lakshmana asks Rama the question that tell me what is knowledge, what is dispassion, what is this Maya, what is this devotion, bhakti? What is the difference between Ishvara and Jiva, the God and individual soul? So Lord Rama explains all these things in short. This episode is known as Ram Gita. It's a very famous part of Manas, explaining the teachings, all these spiritual teachings in a nutshell, and it is called Ram Gita. Then Shurpanakha, there was this sister of Ravana, Shurpanakha. She once happened to visit Panchavati, where Rama and Lakshmana are staying. When she saw Rama and Lakshmana, she felt tremendous attraction for them, and she proposed to them. Rama and Lakshmana sort of starting playing with her, and then when she perceived that they are playing with her, she assumed her very ferocious form and wanted to eat Sita. At that point, Lakshmana handles her and cuts her nose and ears to punish her. Because generally in those times, the noble people, the warriors, they were not killing a woman unless it was absolutely necessary. So even though Shurpanakha could be killed because she wanted to kill Sita, so just to protect her, but Lakshmana just punishes her by cutting her nose and ears. Shurpanakha, of course, felt extremely miserable on this treatment, and she goes to her cousins. Their names are Khara and Dushana. They are the administrators of that region. They are the generals, you can say generals of Ravana, administering that region. And they had a 14,000 strong army. So Khara and Dushana, when she went there, they were also her cousins. They prepared the whole army and went to attack Rama and Lakshmana. So Rama single-handedly killed all these demons along with the whole army. And then when Shurpanakha saw that, so we covered till this point in our last class. So going forward, when Shurpanakha saw that, she felt very surprised because Khara and Dushana were very powerful demons. And now she goes to Ravana himself. And there she is very angry on Ravana. She scolds him that you are just drinking and sleeping. You have no clue what is happening in all your regions. You don't even know that there is an enemy on your head. And then in Manas, this is a very interesting thing. You have all these episodes, the stories going on, and Tulsidas ji, the poet, he will insert a few things which are related to the spirituality, sometimes related to administration policies, sometimes different kind of teachings. And here Shurpanakha is giving sort of those kind of teachings to Ravana. So she says, Rajniti binu dhan binu dharma, harihi samarupe binu sat karma, vidya binu vivek upjaye, shram phal pade kiye arupaye. So she is saying that sovereignty without political insight, wealth divorced from virtue, noble deeds that have not been offered to God, and learning which does not give one wisdom or discrimination is nothing but fruitless labor. And then she says that another beautiful thing she says is Ripuruj pavak paap Prabhu ahi ganena chotikar as kahe vivid bilap karilagi rodan karan. She is saying that 6 things should never be trifled with, should never be considered that they are not important. What are those 6 things? An enemy, a disease in the body, fire, a sin like any wrong deed, master, and a serpent. So they should always be treated with care, never carelessly, because you never know how will they affect you. They can actually kill you. So an enemy should always, no matter how small, how weak enemy may be, should always be treated with care. Disease in the body should be treated with care. Fire, of course, because it can increase. Sin, this is very important. So a person may think, oh, so what, it's just a small thing. So what I did. But that's not how it is. Law of karma starts applying to us when we get into this mode, even for a small wrong deed. So one has to be very careful about his karma. The master, so should always be treated with care, even though master can be little bit friendly, but servant should never become friendly with the master. It should always be a little bit careful. And a serpent. So then she started crying after saying all this. Fell down and crying. Started crying. Ravana was surprised to see his sister in this fashion. That blood is flowing. She is not having the nose and ears, and she is looking, of course, very ferocious. As it is, she was ferocious form. So anyway, he tries to console her, saying that, please calm down and tell me what happened. Who has done this to you? Who thinks that their life is not important to them? Don't they know that you are my sister? So then she starts telling her story, and she says that there are 2 sons of King Dasharatha. They have come to the forest, just like as if playing a game. I feel that they want to make this whole world free from demons. Already, under their protection, lots of saints and sages have become fearless. They are, even though they are very young, but they are so brave that they are like death when faced in a battle. And even though she is describing Rama and Lakshmana as in the enemy camp, she is still saying that Rama is so handsome and he is the elder one. And she tells like the younger brother Lakshmana, and he did this to me. And then Shurparkha knew one thing about Ravana, her brother. Ravana had a lot of weakness for women. Whenever he heard of any beautiful woman, he would go there, either kill the husband or the father, and forcibly take the woman away with him. That was Ravana, because he was so powerful. It was very difficult to control him. So Shurparkha plans to play on that weakness, and she describes beauty of Sita a lot to Ravana. So she is saying that there is a beautiful woman with them named Sita. And she says that she is so beautiful that it is as if God has created her very special. Even the goddess of beauty, there is a wife of Kamadeva, the goddess of love. Her name is Rati. She is sort of considered as the epitome of beauty. She is saying that even millions of Rati will not be equal to her. So in this fashion, she describes the beauty of Sita to make Ravana interested in her cause and therefore kill Rama and Lakshmana. And Shurpanakha wanted to take her revenge. And she also says that you are saying, didn't they know that you are my sister? But it is only because they knew I was your sister, they started playing with me and then they cut my ears and nose. And then when Ravana asked what happened, after that happened, Khara and Dushtana were right there. Why did you go to them? And then she tells that she did go to Khara and Dushtana, and Rama killed the whole 14,000 strong army along with Khara and Dushtana. When Ravana heard that, he was very shocked because Khara and Dushtana, they were very powerful generals of Ravana, almost as powerful as Ravana himself. So he is wondering who could do this. All the gods are under his control. They are left powerless. They cannot go against Ravana. They have no strength left in them to face Ravana. So they will not do that. There is no king on the earth who will do that. Who can do that? And he got a doubt that maybe it is God himself who has come down on earth to accomplish the mission of finishing all the demons. And then he thinks that if that is the case, I will still treat them as enemy and fight with them. If I die in God's hands, in his hands, I would attain moksha anyway. But if they are ordinary human beings, then I'll anyway kill them and bring their wife, bring them and bring Rama's wife. So in that fashion, he decided that he will go and abduct Rama's wife. But he had heard from Shurpanakha that Rama single-handedly killed the whole army along with Khara and Dushtana. So he wanted to make sure that when he goes to abduct Sita, Rama is not there. So when he decides this, he decides on the next course of action how to carry it out. Now, on this end, Lord Rama, he did a little bit of a play here. So what he did, one day when Lakshmana had gone out to take the fruits and roots from the forest, Lord Rama told Sita, look, I want to play, I want to do some Leela. Leela is the word, sort of playful thing. Leela is the word in Sanskrit. So, or I want to do some act in order to kill demons. And you also have to play a part, Lord Rama is telling Sita. So he says that you, with your original form, take your abode in fire and put your shadow form outside. And that's what Sita did. Sita goes into the fire and she puts her shadow form outside. This was so secretive that even Lakshmana did not know about this. Shadow Sita was exactly like the Sita original. There was absolutely no difference in terms of that anybody could recognize. This episode is interesting because it proves that Sita as such originally was never abducted. And many commentators have commented upon this aspect. Some people say that it is because Sita is the goddess herself. The whole creation is her sort of child, or whatever, all the people. So if Ravana touches Sita with an evil intention, he will be dead right at the spot. There will be no further play possible. So therefore, this was played in such a manner. Whatever the case, that's what Tulsidas describes in Manas. Now Ravana, he had a relative called Maricha. Maricha was a very cunning demon. He could take various forms at will. Even though generally demons had that capability to take the forms at will, Maricha was quite an expert in this line. So Ravana, he goes to Maricha, this relative. When Maricha sees Ravana at his doorstep, he was surprised because Ravana is the king. And if anything Ravana ever needs, he will just call Maricha rather than coming to Maricha. And Ravana was kind of a little friendly to him when he came there. So Maricha was even a little bit more surprised and even fearful, because somebody who is so cruel, if he tries to become friendly with you, it's generally not a good sign. So anyway, Maricha bows down to him, says, please come. Why did you take this trouble to come here? You could have just asked me to come and I could have come there. What can I do for you? And then Ravana tells him his plan, that I want to abduct Sita. What you have to do is, you have to take Rama and Lakshmana away from the cottage, so that Sita would be alone and I can abduct her. When Maricha heard that plan, he didn't like it at all. He told Ravana, look, they are not ordinary people. And if you remember in one of the previous stories, I had told that Vishwamitra had taken Rama and Lakshmana for the protection of his fire ceremony. At that time, some demons came whom Rama killed. Maricha was one such demon, but instead of being killed, Lord Rama, just by one arrow, he threw him so far away near the ocean that Maricha survived, but he could never forget that tremor, that pain, that fear. So he developed a tremendous amount of fear. It is said that out of fear, he was thinking of Rama, and therefore his mind got purified. One thinking of Lord in any way or fashion helps that person. So Maricha tells Ravana, look, you are going into death's trap by taking an enemy, by making them enemies. They are not ordinary people. Don't do that. You should go back to your kingdom, and whatever is remaining there, you just enjoy that. When Ravana heard that, he became extremely upset. And he says, you fool, you are trying to be my guru. You're telling me what to do. what I should do and what I should not do? Do you not know that there is nobody who is as powerful as I am in this whole world? Either you do what I say or I'll kill you right at this spot. When Maricha heard that, he realized that both ways it is death for him. If he goes to Lord Rama's cottage to take him away from the cottage, Rama would kill him. Otherwise, Ravana here is going to kill him. And then he thought that why not getting killed from the hands of Rama? He will attain moksha. Anyway, his mind had purified, so he decided on that course of action. So Maricha takes the form of a golden deer, extremely beautiful golden colored deer, with as if you have made a deer of gold with a lot of gems studded in it. That kind of form he took. And he just started roaming near the cottage of Ram. When Sita saw the deer, she got attracted towards the deer. And she tells Rama, "Oh Lord, could you please bring the skin of this deer for me? I want to use it for our purpose here. It is so beautiful." And Lord Rama, of course, he knew everything, what was happening. Yet, he said, "Sure, for sure I will do that. I'll fulfill your wish." And then he instructs Lakshmana that I'm going after this deer. There are a lot of demons roaming around here in this forested area. Please be careful in protecting Sita here. And Lakshmana says, "For sure, I'll do that." So Lord Rama goes after the deer. Deer starts running away. Lord Rama tries to take an arrow and tries to make the aim, and then deer hides somewhere. And then again Lord Rama is going after him. Again he is going farther. So like that, sometimes he hides, sometimes he comes out, sometimes he runs away, sometimes he is nearby. Like that, playing, he took Rama quite far from the cottage. Finally, Lord Rama takes an arrow and hits the deer, and when deer got hit by that arrow, he assumed his original form as the demon, Maricha. And imitating the sound of Lord Rama, he says, "O Lakshmana, O Sita." And then in his own mind, he just takes the name of Lord Rama, bowing to Lord Rama, he just falls down. And he attains the liberation. Now, he had imitated the sound of Rama saying, "O Lakshmana, O Sita," as if he is in trouble. So when Sita heard that sound coming from a distance, she took it as Lord Rama is in distress and he is asking Lakshmana to come to his help. So she tells Lakshmana, "Please go. Your brother is in distress. He needs your help." And Lakshmana says, "Lord Rama being in distress, impossible. That cannot happen. This is surely the voice of some demon. Rama has asked me to be here to protect you, so I will not go there." When Sita heard that, because she was at that point of time just thinking of Rama, that Rama being in distress and he needs Lakshmana's help, she started saying some things to Lakshmana, some penetrating things, that your intention is probably to have Rama killed so that you can have me or something, some things of those nature. Like for Lakshmana, Sita was mother, and he could not tolerate those words. Sita's intention was not to blame Lakshmana, but just to make sure that he goes to Ram. So anyhow, this thing happened. Lakshmana saw no other way. And he says, look, you are not listening to me, you are forcing me to go there. I somehow do not see good coming out of this. And then there is an interesting story which is found in some stories of Rama, not in others. In Manas, it is indirectly mentioned that when Lakshmana is leaving, he draws a line around the cottage with his arrow. And then he reads some mantras on that line. And he tells Sita that do not go out of this line. As long as you are in this line, nobody can enter and you will be protected. But the moment you cross this line, you will be unprotected and somebody can harm you. So this line, it's a very popularly, it has become sort of a part of folklore as well as idioms in India. It's called Lakshmana Rekha. And so that's how Tulsidas ji mentions it only indirectly. He doesn't mention it directly in Manas. But in many other Ramayanas, it is there, some it is there, some it is not there, this part. But I just wanted to share this with you because this is such a popular thing in the psyche of people in India today. That this Lakshmana Rekha, the line drawn by Lakshmana, the protective line. So Lakshmana also goes. Now Sita is alone at the cottage. So Ravana, who is looking from distance, all this, now he finds his opportunity. So he is going slowly. He takes the form of a mendicant, as if for begging the alms. Because it was the duty of a householder when a mendicant comes to his or her doorstep to give the alms to mendicant, to sadhu. So Ravana takes that form and he goes there. So here Tulsidas ji describes that part beautifully. Jaake dar sur asur derahi, nisin need din ann na khahi, so das sis swan ki nai, it ut chitai chala bhade hai, im kupanth pag det khagesa, rehna tej budhi bal lesa. So Tulsidas is saying that Ravana is so powerful that even the gods, demons, everybody in the whole earth, they are in fear of him. They cannot sleep peacefully. They cannot eat peacefully out of fear. The same Ravana who is so powerful, now he is going like a dog, looking here and there as if somebody might be seeing him. And Tulsidas is saying this is the condition of a person who sets his foot on the path of vice. His bodily glow, his reason, his strength completely disappear. So Ravana goes there. Sita sees a mendicant on the doorstep and she brings some alms. Ravana, who was also a great master of all the mantra signs, he saw the line. He understood that he cannot cross the line and go inside the cottage. So he tells Sita that he cannot accept the alms which are inside this protective line because the arm becomes impure. So Sita has to come out in order to give the alms. And once Sita comes out, Ravana assumes his original form of a demon, and Sita gets so scared, and anyway, she doesn't have a chance now to escape Ravana. So Ravana abducts Sita forcefully and puts her on his chariot. So Ravana had a flying chariot. So even at that time, it is described this flying chariot with the same name which we normally use for the aeroplane. So whether there was an aeroplane-like thing in those ages or not, we do not know, but there is a description of a flying chariot, and the same word is used in Sanskrit. So Ravana puts Sita on that flying chariot and starts moving over the ocean to his kingdom. He was the king of Lanka. As he is going, Jatayu, the bird, the king of vultures I had described earlier, who was friend of Rama's father and also very devoted to Rama. He heard, so Sita is crying helplessly. She is remembering Rama, she is calling out Lakshmana, and she is saying, "Oh Rama, where are you? How can you see this thing happening, that your wife being abducted by a demon? Lakshmana, I did not listen to you, so I am getting the punishment for my own foolishness." Like that, Sita is just crying helplessly. So Jatayu, when he heard this sound, he understood that it is from Sita. So he comes in front of Ravana and he challenges Ravana. He says, "Look, either you leave Sita or fight with me." So Ravana and Jatayu both fight. First, Jatayu gives a little bit of a shock to Ravana, but Ravana, being so powerful and having all the weapons, Jatayu was not really a match for him. Plus, Ravana had the boon that he will not be defeated by anybody except a human being or a monkey. So Ravana cuts the feathers of Jatayu, hurts him fatally, and Jatayu falls down, almost at the doorstep of death. And then Ravana flies away further. While on the way, Sita saw a mountain where some monkeys are sitting there. So she puts a few of her ornaments and ties in a cloth and drops there, hoping that maybe sometime Rama may come in her search and finds this place and get some clue that where she is. So Ravana takes Sita to his kingdom, Lanka. Some people believe it is the currently Sri Lanka. That was the place where Ravana's capital was. Some people think that it was another place, another island somewhere. We do not know for sure, but the general belief in India is that it is the Lanka, which is still the same name. That was the place, that was Ravana's capital. So he places Sita there he had a garden called Ashoka Van. Ashoka is a tree considered a very auspicious tree in India. Literally means one who takes the sorrow away. That's the name Ashoka. So he had a garden, beautiful garden, many of these kind of trees, Ashoka trees. So he keeps Sita there in that garden, and he keeps a lot of female demons as guard for Sita. And there he tries to win over Sita by showing her fear love, and all the other traits. But Sita has no other thought except Rama. So Sita is just sitting with her head down all the time, taking the name of Rama, and in her heart, she remembers the last time when she saw Rama going after the deer, the golden deer. So Sita is passing her days in extreme agony, but all the time thinking of Rama. Now on this end, when Lakshmana is going to Rama because Sita had sent him, Rama sees Lakshmana coming and he is immediately worried. He says, Lakshmana, what happened? How come you are here? How come you did not obey my orders to be with Sita? And Lakshmana says, I felt helpless. Sita became so unreasonable. She just will not have any other way. I had to come here. And like Rama says, you did not do the right thing. My heart says something has happened to Sita. You disobeyed my orders. That was not the right thing. Lakshmana is sort of in this condition. He is like, doesn't know. Anyway, both of them return quickly towards the cottage, finds the cottage empty. And immediately Rama's heart sinks. He becomes very, very sorrowful. He starts crying with tears. He started even questioning the animals, the trees, the birds, that have you seen Sita? Where is she? So with lot of tears, lot of crying, Rama is looking for Sita. Now here Lakshmana is trying to make Rama understand that, look, please have patience, it will be okay. Normally Rama is the elder brother and he will play that role, but here Rama has become so emotional that Lakshmana is trying to make him understand, console him. So here Tulsidas ji is saying a beautiful verse. एहि विधि खोजत बिलपत स्वामी मनहु महाविरहई अत कामी पूरन काम राम सुख राशि मनुज चरित कर अज अविनाशी. So Tulsidas ji is saying that in this way the Lord searched and lamented like an uxorious husband sorely smitten with the pangs of separation. Sri Rama, who is bliss personified and has all his wishes accomplished, who is both unborn and immortal, behaved like a mortal. So because he has taken the role of a human being, he is playing that role perfectly. There are a lot of stories, side stories not mentioned in Manas, why Rama cried so much, why he had so much that it became so emotional that he started asking the birds, trees, plants. So anyway, in this way they started moving, Rama and Lakshmana, and then they saw Jatayu. Jatayu was almost about to die, but he was still holding his life. He wanted to see Rama. He wanted to inform Rama, where is Sita, who has taken Sita, where is she? So Rama, when he sees Jatayu, he quickly approaches him. He takes Jatayu's head on his lap. And then Jatayu tells that this Ravana, who is the king of Lanka, he has abducted Sita. Jatayu tried to fight with him to protect Sita, but Ravana cut his feathers, hurt him, and now he is just about to die. So Rama, when he heard that, he had tears in his eyes. He says, if you want, I can give you the life back. You will become the whole again, if you wish so. And Jatayu says that, I have heard that if a person just remembers your name in the last time, at the time of death, he attains liberation. For me, you yourself are sitting here. At this point of time, why will I ask my life? Why will I ask, what for would I want to live more? No, I don't want to live more. I just want to, in your hand, my head in your hands, I want to leave my body. And Lord Rama gives him the liberation. But he says that it is not that I am giving you the liberation. Because of your own karma, you are having the liberation. He says that, beautiful verse here, परहित बस जिनके मन माही तिन कहूँ जग दुर्लभ कछु नाही तनु तज तात जाहु मम धामा देव काह तुम पूरन कामा. He is saying that those people who always have others' interest at their heart, they always think of others first before themselves. There is nothing impossible for them in this world. So you have all your desires fulfilled, you please go to my abode. So that way, Rama moves forward in the south direction. And then he goes to the hut of Shabari. The story of Shabari is very moving. She was a tribal lady. As a tribal lady, she just grew sort of uneducated. There was not much of a culture in her tradition and living. But she had somehow this devotion for God in her heart. So she ran away from home as a young girl. She didn't want to get married. And she comes to this place in the forest where Sage Matanga was staying. And there were other sages also in that area. So Sage Matanga, he was a very famous sage. So Shabari was afraid to come in front of sage. She wanted to serve the sage. But she was afraid because she was a tribal lady from a very low caste. She was afraid that she will not be accepted even for serving. So what she was doing in the night, when everybody was asleep, she would clean the whole yard and the road in front of ashram of Sage Matanga. And when he gets up in the morning, he finds everything so clean and he was surprised who did that. And he did not find anybody. So one day he decided, every day when it is happening, he decided to find out what is happening. So he once was late in the night and he saw this young lady cleaning, and then Sage Matanga came out and Shabari started trembling, that thinking that Sage Matanga might curse her or something. And then Sage Matanga first told her that, don't fear. I am very pleased by your service. You can ask me anything you want. And Shabri says that, what can I ask? What am I worth for? I'm like, nothing. You have accepted my service, that itself is enough for me. I don't know what to ask for. And Sage Matanga says, Shabri, you stay in the ashram, in this ashram. Lord himself would come here. You have a desire to see Lord. You don't have to go anywhere. You just stay here. I would be leaving my body soon. But you don't worry. You can stay in my ashram. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to go anywhere. Just wait and Lord will come here himself. So for Shabri, Sage Matanga became Guru. And she accepted the words of Guru, that Lord himself would come there one day. And after a few days, as Sage Matanga had said, he left his body. Now Shabri was alone in the ashram. He made ashram as her abode. Because Sage Matanga had not said when will Lord come so that she can see him. So for Shabri, every single day was a potential day for Lord to come, that she can see the Lord. So every single day, she will clean all the approaching roads to the ashram. She will pick the best of the fruits available at that point of time in the forest and collect them, that Lord might come to them. And like that, from the morning till evening, she has been just waiting. She is doing the cleaning, she picks up the fruits, and then she just waits. Every single sound, she is rushing out, oh, if Lord might have come. And like that, the days passed. Days became months, months became years. Shabri from a young girl became an old lady. But her faith did not waver. She had absolute faith in the words of her Guru, that when he has said Lord will come, he will come. Every single day, her enthusiasm did not waver. Her wait did not waver. She will wait every single day for Lord to come. She will clean all the approaching roads. She will pick the best fruits from the forest, and she will wait. And then one day Lord comes. So when Rama going in search of Sita, she goes to the hermitage of Shabri. And when Shabri saw Rama, she remembered the words of her Guru, that Lord himself will come. So she brought all the fruits which she had picked on that day. And Shabri was doing one more. She was picking the best of the fruits, and that day she had found the berries, special berries in India, in that local region. And she is offering one by one to Ram. And the story goes, it's not there in Manas, but the story goes that she only wanted to offer the sweetest of the fruits. Now, how to know which fruit is the sweet? So she will eat some part of the fruit herself. And then, if she finds it sweet, she will give it to Rama. If she does not find it sweet, she will throw it away. Now, in the normal course, it is considered most inappropriate thing to offer something to the Lord after tasting yourself. Even to another person, it is considered inappropriate. To the Lord, we take a lot of purity, and there are a lot of things which people observe. But Shabri was doing that out of her love. And Lord Rama totally accepted it. He was eating all those fruits which Shabri had already eaten a little bit, with so much joy and happiness. And then Lord Rama gives a beautiful teachings of devotion, 9 types of devotion, Navada Bhakti. We will discuss this in the next class. This is one of the favorite topics of Guruji. He has talked on this topic many times. So we'll see what are the 9 types of devotion Lord Rama talks to Shabri. So with this, in today's class comes to an end. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to write in the chat window. Okay, so we'll conclude our class with the prayers. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. If you think of any questions afterwards, you can always write to the email, the scriptures@kriya.org. So always feel free to do that in case you think of any questions or comments later on also. Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone.